After a, let's call it, tricky start to the season at St. Petersburg, where my only highlight was causing this crash in race 3. We head into round 2 at the Autodromo Hermanoz Rodriguez in Mexico City. At the bottom of the standings with a net 0 points after my penalty for causing that collision, but I still felt like I had pretty good pace in round 1, which gives me a good bit of confidence heading into round 2. Don't feel as good as I did heading into St. Petersburg, but my main aim heading into this one is to get better starts, keep it clean, and hopefully have some good pace once again and get some good results. So with all that said, let's head into qualifying. So starting my best lap in this qualifying session, I found it a very difficult track to qualify around. My pace didn't seem bad, but it felt like you needed a couple of laps to get the tyres up to a workable temperature. Then it was very easy to overheat the tyres as well. But anyway, breaking down into turn 1, 2 and 3, tricky chicane, using as much of the curb as you can without getting a cut warning and without the curbs bouncing too far offline. Down the second straight then into the second chicane, again using as much of the curb as you can, flicking it back then to the right, very understeery there before we get to the double right hander. On the power then, nice and early before heading into the tricky S section. Slow in, fast out is what I found through here, and yeah, it's just all about getting the right flow, getting the right line. Especially through here, it's a lot understeerier and you have to carry a lot less speed than you would really think to get the line right. Breaking down, heading into the stadium section, the Foro Sol, and then into the hairpin. Get a little bit of a snap of oversteer there on the entry, but luckily managed to keep it together. Again, very understeery through the last braking zone, and then flat out through the final corner. Coming up across the line to set a 132.7 over a second behind pole position of Kanto Chukwu, and to be honest, I don't know how I would get a second faster compared to the lap times I'm doing, so definitely shows the levels there are here in RTA. I think on my best lap I probably would have just got ahead of Kevin Joyce for P14. I don't think there was much more in it from me, but hopefully the race pace is a little bit better and we can move up a couple of spots. So as we head to the lights for race 1, if you saw my round 1 video in St. Pete, you know the starts are definitely a weakness for me. I did try and practice a few things before this round, but they don't seem to have worked, and that's probably the worst start I've had this season so far, so need to try something else for race 2. But heading into turn 1, taking it nice and easy, braking, lifting off very early just to avoid any carnage. Twister is up ahead, and then we come together with Adam Dowling.
You've got damage on the left side. You've got damage in the midsection.
As you can hear there, a good bit of damage to the car. And we're going to have a look at our replay here, because at the time I thought that Adam had just run straight into the back of me, but looking at the replay you can see into turn 1 we're all taking it nice and easy. Adam taking a bit of a wider line and me there on the right hand side. Crash up ahead, and I just turned to the left too. I kind of had to avoid that, and it's just unfortunate there that Adam was alongside. So at the time I thought it was 100% Adam's fault. In hindsight it was 100% my fault, but probably more of a racing incident, trying to avoid the incident up ahead, and yeah, just unfortunate there. Then skip ahead on lap 3, not much happened. On lap 1 and 2 we managed to get past Simon Hutchinson, who had a spin. We then get past Alex Marsh King, who has had an incident into the final corner as well, as I nearly have an incident through the final corner there. Big snap of oversteer and lose a good bit of time to the cars ahead, but we have managed to catch up which I'm happy about considering how much time I lost at turn 1 and lap 1 through the S section on the last S. Getting a slowdown penalty just cut the track there. I ran in a bit deep, and in practice a couple of times I'd done that. I tried to keep it on the track and just ended up spinning on the curb, so decided to take the penalty to make sure that I stay facing in the right direction. And then lap 5 we are up in the same position, lost one place to Simon, and we managed to get past Dermot, who had a spin heading into the stadium section. At the end of lap 5 then, nice train of cars up ahead, Simon and Sean going side by side there. This train headed by Jack's our win, then it's Kem, Sean, Simon and myself, so a couple of positions here up for grabs in the last 2 laps of this race. One thing I definitely didn't do right throughout these races is managing my push to pass. See here, there's 100 seconds left in the race and I have just under 50 seconds of push to pass left. Definitely too much. There's not really enough places to use it effectively in the next 2 laps to use it also. Should have been a bit more liberal with using it throughout this race, but I do have it now to try and get a run on Sean and Kem, but just getting a bit boxed in. If it was just one of either of those, I probably would have got past heading into turn 4. They're all out of push to pass. I have my try to go for a switchback here on Kem, but he takes a narrower line through that left-hander and just blocks that from happening. So unfortunate there, and want to try and get past him now because I still think there's a chance that I can get a position on Sean and or Simon. Jack seems to be a little bit further up the road now with that battle and that happened, so he is probably safe enough from me at least. And now the S's though, Kem gets a poor run, we get a much better run. Have a look around the outside heading into the stadium section, but not able to do anything there. Kem going in deep and holding his line. Just trying to take it nice and easy, nice and tidy through the last section of the track, and hopefully try and get a move down the long pit straight, but through the final corner, I think Peraltada is the name of that corner, just getting a couple of snaps of oversteer, not able to carry full throttle, so a little bit too far back to go for a move on Kem heading into turn 1, even with the push to pass. But we are able to close up and now have to just try and hope to set up a move heading into turn 4. But through the chicane he takes it nicely, nice and tidy, and we're not going to be able to get past him. His connection wasn't the best for me a couple of times throughout this round, as you saw there, everybody flickering. But we do get past Pavlo, who I think he had to cut the first chicane, which gives you an awful slowdown. It doesn't matter if you completely cut across it or if you cut it a little bit, you're getting a 4 or 5 second slowdown penalty. But his loss is my gain, and up into 17th place, and realistically have one more chance to try and get past Kem. Through the S's he doesn't have a great line, but he managed to clean it up pretty well for the last part, and don't think we're close enough to go for a move heading into the right hander. We're not, so try and go for a switchback. I go deep, Kem goes deeper, we get alongside, but it's the outside for the hairpin. I try to hold it, leaving enough space, but unfortunately he's just able to get enough momentum to hold on to that position, and through the final corner, going across the line and finish in P17. Not the best race, to be totally honest, losing 2 positions. The terrible start I had, really coming back to bite me, and even with the long straights around here, it is difficult to overtake, or at least that's the way it seems for me. Sean McClemens winning this one ahead of younger brother Dylan, and Brandon McCotton rounding out the podium. But looking at the results, I think, it was in a train with Jack at the front of it. He finished in 13th, so I feel like I could have finished there at best after taking into account the start I had, but it is what it is, starting 17th in race 2, and hopefully we can get off the line a little bit better. So getting ready to start race 2 then, and
Green flag,
as
green
I
flag.
mentioned in the previous race, my connection playing up a little bit this evening, so had a flicker there just before lights out, which definitely distracted me a small bit. But get a pretty decent start, getting the jump on Jack Wynn.
You're on the left.
Not
Three
sure
wide.
what kind of
Car
net
right,
positions
2 wide.
I've gained
You're
or
on the
lost there
left,
from
3
that
wide.
start. We're heading into turn 1 again, taking it nice and easy. Don't
Car
want to be
right,
involved in
2
any
wide.
kind of collision this time, and seems to
Clear.
be that everyone has made it through nice and cleanly. A little bit of a look on Darragh O'Connor there, but he had the inside line for the all-important final part of that chicane, and he managed to stay ahead.
Right
Heading into
side.
turn 4, taking it nice and
Do you not
easy.
just want to
this
leave it off
guy!
base?
This guy is wild.
Like, what are you doing? Oh wow, lots of spice. You're gonna just keep diving me, like.
And just listening in there to the Discord channel, a lot of people not happy with a few things that have happened there in the second chicane. There was a lot of smoke. I think there was a car in the barrier, and yeah, not too sure what really happened, but I managed to make it through nice and cleanly, which is the main thing for me. We did lose a place to Pavlo Kishkan, who was going around the outside on me heading into that chicane, and it seems that the cards fell his way nicely through that sequence. But back to the present now, heading into the chicane. A lot of cars within close quarters here, but it's not really the kind of place where you're able to make a move unless the car ahead makes a pretty big mistake and goes completely wide or off the track. So we all stay line astern for now as we zoom down the front straight. Pavlo and Darragh going side by side, compromising each other's line, so was trying to set a good exit on the run down to turn 4, but wasn't able to do so. Head down into the chicane then. Pavlo brakes a little bit too late. He then goes for a spin as we are going past, and we move up into P13 on this second lap. Still some fighting going on, still very close around us as we skip through the S section. Up ahead, Darragh and Kem going side by side, or at least it looked like they were. And on the exit of that corner, Kem going for a slide. I actually thought that he was after taking Darragh out there, so I was a bit surprised when I was told that there was somebody on my right hand side. But I think it turned out that Kem going for that spin, him hitting Darragh, actually put him in the right direction as well. So luckily for the two of those that they were able to keep going in this one, and it meant that I was able to gain 2 places without having to do a whole lot myself. Jumping ahead on lap 3 then a small bit, obviously after that little kerfuffle at the end of the previous lap with Darragh and Kem. We've lost a bit of ground to the cars ahead, and being the lead car in this train, I was trying to push to catch up to the group ahead, but I kept making no real big mistakes, but a lot of little mistakes, and it just kind of reinforced the point that, especially around here, if you try and over push this car, you're going to lose more time than you're going to gain. It's really a case of slow in, fast out with this car, especially around here, because you don't want to overheat the tyres too much either, or you will be suffering, especially towards the end of the races. But as we end lap 3, starting lap 4, still managed to hold on to P11 now. We're going down the front straight. I don't know why I decided to turn off the push to pass. Darragh goes down the inside, and I turn in, and Alex Marsh sends it down the inside from a long way back, and we're side by side on the exit. I wasn't too impressed with that move at the time. Looking back on it, it was a fairly fair enough move. I was after letting Darragh through because he was alongside.
Clear.
I turned in then like I would when you're fighting somebody. He just dove his car there. He got us stopped in fairness to him, so can't really say a whole lot about it. Trying to fight back there through that second chicane, but not able to happen there. And we nearly lost the spot to Simon Hutchins behind through that fight, so luckily we hold on to 13th now. We're on lap 6, the next lap, heading into the first chicane. I didn't think I broke too late, but I looked at the replay and I did miss my braking point by a bit, and luckily was able to go to the left hand side of Alex, not take him out, and then have to cut across the first chicane. I think I mentioned it earlier in this video, the slowdown penalty for cutting there is fairly painful, so I had to slow down, let Simon, Connor and Jack past, and now we're over a second and a half behind Jack from having to serve that slowdown. But I've slowly started to catch back up. On lap 7 we get past Dara, who I don't know if he was spun around at the hairpin or if he spun himself, but either way he was facing not the right direction, and we move up a spot into 15th, and then on the next lap through the S's caught up to Jack, who seems to be struggling a bit. I don't know if he has damage or overheated tyres, but he has to go off track, cut the last part of the S's, which I know gives you the slowdown penalty, which he serves there on the right hand side, and I am able to go past. Make a mistake then heading into the Forest Sol, just running a bit wide, but luckily going off track there is just a 1x and don't have any sort of a slowdown. As in the mirror, Jack, I think he kind of got caught on the curb heading in there, skateboarded pretty much into the barrier. I was a bit wary that he was going to be able to slipstream and he was pushed the pass to get past me heading down into turn 1, so luckily for me that little mistake by Jack means that I'm safe for the time being on that lap. Very action-packed race this one, seems like something's happening every lap nearly, and on the next lap, lap 9, we've caught up to Simon Hutchinson, as we've seen throughout already. Can't really make a move in the Forest Sol, so just focusing on getting nice and close and getting a good exit out of this final corner to start the final lap. I had a good bit push to pass compared to Simon Hughes, so I feel like it was going to be a pretty easy move to make whatever happened out of the final corner. Simon got a bit of a slide, a poor exit, and we were already pretty much ahead before we even turned on the push to pass and crossed the line. And I kind of thought at this point I was fairly home and hosed in P13, so I wasn't taking too much switch through the first chicane, but you can see in the mirror how much Simon gained on me, so on the exit here I knew that I couldn't just take it easy for the rest of this lap. Simon was going to put me under pressure to get this position back, and not going to be as easy as I would have liked, but thankfully for me the best overtaking opportunity of the lap had passed, and I was able to hold on to finish race 2 in P13. Up 4 from where I started, and feel like it could have been a bit better. Maybe top 10 would have been possible if it wasn't for that mistake at the chicane where I had to serve the slowdown, but either way, definitely a good recovery from a disappointing first race, and hopefully can gain a couple of more places in race 3 and the final one here at Mexico City. For the final time then we go to the lights for race 3 here in Mexico, and once again don't get a great start, need to work on that before the next race in Miami. But on the line, before we even get to turn 1, there is a crash. I'm not sure who was involved in that, but 2 cars off. Luckily we managed to avoid that, but we have lost a good few positions from that poor start. Through the first chicane though, another car off there, I think that was Campbell. And then on the exit of the chicane, they're going to be in a big accident on the right hand side. I think it was Sean McClemens and Kevin Joyce involved in that one, so again another place there into the second chicane then. Going around the outside, turns to the inside for the next bit. Didn't really fancy throwing it up the inside of Harvey Dara there. Ken Complyson trying to go around the outside of the double right hander, but doesn't really work much for him there. We hold on to that position as now we head through the S section. Up ahead, see a puff of smoke as there is another incident. Roland Doherty there in the red car who were going to get past. I think he clipped Connor Melia. So another 2 positions gained there as we get past Roland heading into the Foro Sol. And lots of lockups up ahead. So it's all action here to start race 3, this 20-minute race. My thought process into this one was to try and take it as easy as I can without losing too much pace. I felt like if we saved the tyres, it would pay dividends come the end of the race to have a bit fresher rubber and not overheat them too much, which very high track temperature and the tyres are very loaded, especially through the S's, so trying to save as much as we can would be a benefit in my, that's what I was thinking anyway at this stage. Ending lap 1, we're up into the top 10, 9th place. We got past Kevin Joyce, who came into the pits to get his damage repaired after that lap 1 incident involving himself. And we are right on the back of Simon Hutchinson, who is putting Jack Wynne under a bit of pressure. Getting very close to the rear wing of Simon, but not able to go for a move around here just yet. Yeah, really have to be alongside going in to try and get past, but just trying to stay nice and close so we can make it maybe at the start of the next lap. Now going to listen to some radio.
Is this the race where mind and tyres would kind of help a bit?
I can hear there Jack asking the question in the Discord, would saving tyres be of benefit? Like I've mentioned already, I feel like it would be for myself, so there's a few others that could be having similar theories to what I have.
Clear on the right.
Through the last part of the S's, Simon going a bit wide, more side by side heading into the right-hander, entering Foro Sol, but not close enough to try and make a move there, and I didn't really want to be fighting too much through that section. It would slow you up quite a lot, and I've already lost a bit of time to Jack ahead, so I didn't want to lose any more. Just wanted to see if myself and Simon could catch up to Jack. Coming down the pit straight, that was Sean Clemens coming back out of the pits. Heading into turn 1, using the push to pass. Try and have a go at Simon, braking as late as I can with the inside line, and we managed to get it done under braking without losing too much time, I don't think. And now we can set our sights after Jack. Skip ahead to lap 5 then, about a lap later, we have Dylan McClemens in the mirror. I think Dylan actually was one of those that was caught up in the start line crash. And Dylan being Dylan, how fast he is, he's already caught back up to me. And I was happy enough to try and let Dylan pass here. I know how quick he is, and if I could maybe just latch onto the back of him for a lap or two, it would drag me along. But more importantly, if he catches up to some of the cars ahead, maybe they won't want to let him pass. They can fight a bit and drag them back to me to get places that I think I could probably keep. Through the S's though, getting it a bit wrong. Have no momentum coming out of there, and Lee Colgan gets past pretty easily. Again, I just braked a little bit earlier heading into there, let him go, because again, didn't want to fight through here, lose too much time and drop even further back from the cars up ahead. Overall though, so far in this race, just over halfway, still to go, it's going pretty well, kind of happy with where I am. And if it keeps going the way it has been for the second half of this race, I think I'll be fairly happy to come to checker flag. Heading down into turn 1. Don't use a lot of push to pass because again I didn't want to fight too much. But speaking of fighting, we have Camto Chukwa now in our rear view mirrors. I think he might have been involved in something either at the start of this race or in the previous race, and he's trying to fight back through the field. And just like with Dylan, not going to put up too much of a fight when he tries to get past. And through the S's, I didn't think I had too bad of a run there. I did end up getting a snap on the exit, but Camto got a great run. He has the inside line heading into the stadium section, and I don't try and fight that around the outside. At this point, I'm pretty sure that my races with Jack and Lee, Camto and Dylan, are going to stretch their legs and pull away, so yeah, don't want to fight with them, just want to focus on the other two lads and see if we can get them by the end of the race. A few laps later, we're right on the back of Lee, and we have Sean McClemmons right on the back of Lee, who is a lap down. I know he's very fast. Well, I wasn't really expecting him to go for an overtake, but he got a better run out of the S's, and just like with the other two, Campto and Dylan, I decided to let Sean go because maybe he can try and fight the lads up ahead getting past. You can see here side by side with Lee, and this is what I mean by how much time you lose fighting through that particular section. We've lost so much time to Jack up ahead. And going to listen to some of the Discord chat once again.
Right, all aboard the catch, Jack 1-3.
So as you can hear there, Sean going to try and drag myself and Lee back up towards the pack ahead and
have a little look.
Jack win.
We're on him, lads, well done.
Which didn't take too long, Jack making a mistake at the first chicane, so we managed to close that gap pretty easily without Sean having to do a whole lot, just giving us a little bit of a tow down the pitch straight. We're on lap 11 now, just under 4 minutes left to go, and like I thought, it's myself, Lee and Jack fighting it out for P9. Jack making a bit of a mistake in the first chicane there, so Lee is able to have a go at him into the second chicane, but just going a bit deep, and Jack is able to hold on to that position. At the back of this train as well, we now have Dara O'Connor and Conor Melia behind me, so it is a 5-car fight for the back end of the top 10. In terms of push to pass, just like I think I said in race 1, not doing the best job at managing it. I suppose managing it isn't the right word, but just not using it enough. I have over 40 seconds left still, and when we come across the line this time it's going to be 2 laps left, and really the only places you can use the push to pass here is on the main straight and on the straight between the 2 chicanes. So well, at this point I think I thought there was maybe 3 laps left, so I wasn't going to use too much of it because I wanted to keep as much as I could for the last lap in case I have a chance to make any overtakes when other drivers might not have as much or any push to pass remaining. You can see Lee has just over 30 seconds, so he's still in a good spot as well. It'll be hard to get a good advantage on him. Jack down at just 6 seconds left, so if Lee can put him under a bit of pressure, a bit more pressure, he could have to use that and be a bit of a sitting duck on the last lap, which is kind of what both of us are hoping for. Into the second chicane, Jack knocking up a small bit, so a puff of tyre smoke allows us to catch up even more, if we can catch up much more without being in the back of him. But so far he's managed to keep it all under control. He's keeping all of us behind and in our place. Just shows the experience that Jack and a lot of the drivers in RTA have. They know how to race, they know how to defend, they know what they have to do to hold on to positions. But heading into the Forest Sol, Jack just locks up, goes deep and goes wide, and that has allowed Lee to almost get alongside into the hairpin. And looking at this back, I think Lee could have went around or tried to fire around the outside there, but he knew that if he did that he wouldn't be able to get a good exit onto this pitch straight now, and he got a good exit. He has to push the pass, and now he is side by side with Jack heading down into the first chicane. I'm on the button using as much as I can, but not close enough to get for move. Jack defends very well there, considering he was a lot lower on push to pass, has the inside line, broke late and held on to that position ahead of Lee. We all have not great runs through the first chicane, but on the exit Lee had a bit of a slide. I used the push to pass that I have. He has pushed the pass on as well, but with the outside line he's able to brake late, go deep and hold on to that position. I tried to go for a switchback, but I hesitated for half a second turning in there, and I think that might have been the difference. If I had turned in when I originally went to do it rather than taking a second stab at it, I think I could have got alongside Lee there, had the inside line for the double right-hander and got that position in 10th place, but unfortunately wasn't able to. Through the S's, I don't get a great run. Don't get a bad run either, but we're too far back from lead to try and have a move into the right-hander. He's too far back from Jack as well, and into the hairpin. Not somewhere where I was going to go for a big dive. Didn't want to cause 2 big crashes in 2 weeks, so played the percentage game, stayed behind because I wasn't going to be able to get the move done, and out of the final corner, going to come across the line and finish in P11. So after the first round in St. Pete, where definitely wasn't great, coming here wasn't the best first race, but great second and third race. Some good battling there, even though it was hard to overtake, almost impossible really. It was still some great fighting, and 11th place, up 2 from where I started. Definitely could have been a couple of better, but not a whole lot more, so happy enough with that. Brandon McCotton taking the win, Harvey Dara in second, up 17 places, so great race by Harvey there to get on the podium, and then Sean McGoldrick rounding out the top 3. What that means for the standings after 2 rounds is that I am finally off the mark, getting back up from 0 points after St. Pete with 31 here, and up into 19th place, which definitely lower than I really want to be, but we'll hopefully move up through the standings as the season goes on. Up at the front, Tony Griffin leading the way, Brandon McCotton moving up into second, Harvey Dara rounding out the top 3. But yeah, overall, as I mentioned, happy enough with how that round went, and hopefully the battling that we had there remains the same throughout the rest of the season, starting off for round 3 at the Miami Autodrome. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Until the next one at Miami, thanks for watching. See you then.